The Daily Dribble.
Welcome back to the Daily Dribble podcast, guys. The lads are here. We're doing back-to-back jacks. This is part 2 of our season gradings. Today we're doing the Western Conference. Now, you guys will be tuning into this the week later, but this is the first time ever, season 4, first time in Daily Dribble history, we're doing back-to-back episodes.
Don't tell them, mate.
No, they know.
It's
they know
a brand
from the
new
first
day.
episode.
What a great new day.
Just for the pure effects of it all, we've all changed tops.
New day.
But
Movie magic.
How are we feeling, fellas? We feeling still refreshed?
I'm still actually feeling a bit re-energized, to be
I
honest.
feel good too, Lee.
Yeah.
Momentum's kicking in. I'm ready to go into hyperdrive right
Get
now.
your words
Yeah,
together.
what's that? Kick on. No, it's good. Well, as always, I'm your host, Nick Zammit, here back for episode 2 of the 4th season of the Daily Dribble podcast. Joining me, Mr. Lee Hancock,
Going on,
Mr. Rowe Hancock.
How are we going?
Lads, as we said, this is part 2. Last week's episode, we did our Eastern Conference predictions. Today, we are doing our Western Conference ones. So,
There's no mucking about.
I won't muck around too
No.
much, but as we said on the first installment, we would love to hear from you guys what you think, where we went right, where we went wrong, who does their order the best. Be sure to hit us up. Tune into our socials, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok for all the latest news. As well, I hope you guys, I know we're doing this immediately after, but the week later, the NBL season will be in full swing. Hope you guys are certainly enjoying that. I know we certainly are as well. Big shout out to both the Cover and the Spotlight Sports Network. Certainly appreciate their continued support. Let's get into it, though. There's no mucking around here, lads.
Nick, start us off.
Let's kickstart with, now I'll just say, and I said this last week, the East was the hardest the East has ever been to do. It was so deep. Likewise, it's the case with the West as well. I think a lot of these top 8 to 10 teams will be quite close in win standings. So it was really, I think there'll be quite a few discrepancies here.
Yep.
Kickstarting with the Dallas Mavericks, I've got them in 8th. Now, I think from latest reports, it seems as if their big off-season acquisition in Christian Wood there, it seems as if he might be coming off the bench in a 6th-man role.
And not overly happy about it either, by the sounds of it.
You wouldn't be, would you?
Not if you're Christian Wood and you've come from being the focal point on as the big man. No, you wouldn't be.
New acquisition from the Phoenix Suns, JaVale McGee, will be starting now. What a career resurgence he's had. He still is the ultimate Shaq in a full meme.
Yes.
But he really turned his career around there. And now it looks as if he'll be getting a starting spot with the Mavs.
Guy's got handles.
I think for me, they're going to need role players. Maxi Kleber, Tim Hardaway Jr., who should be returning healthy, Josh Green, Davis Bertans, will all need to step up now that Jalen Brunson's gone to the Knicks. Dinwiddie as well. For me, I think Luka is going to be phenomenal and is certainly my pick for MVP.
So just quickly, so you think Luka MVP finishing 8th?
You see, when I said this last week, a fortnight ago, 2 episodes ago, the last episode of season 3, I gave my award predictions.
Yes.
And I said that they would have to finish probably top 4 to 5 for him to be MVP.
And I would agree with that.
As I did this, and I kind of thought more about that point I made on the episode, the similarities to Russell Westbrook winning it with OKC in a team that was pretty finished lowly.
The triple-double season.
Triple-double season. I think Luka could well have a triple-double season. I think, though, just for that pure fact that a lot of these teams, I think, between 8th and 5th, there might be only a couple of games separating them. So I think...
So even though they're 8th in position, the win-loss record isn't going to be that significant.
I think will be enough. If they can somehow eke out 45 wins, if they're a plus 500 team, which I think they should be, he's every shot. It's just, I think he's going to be phenomenal. It's just whether enough people can come with him for the journey.
Oh, look, I'm with you in terms of that, in terms of him being just so valuable as any other player to his team.
Most valuable?
Not for mine. I think he'll be in the top 3 or 4.
You said Giannis last week.
I think Giannis. Yeah. But I think he'll still be super valuable to his team. I've got the Dallas Mavericks at 6th position this year.
Yeah, cool. So could he win it from there?
Potentially, yeah. I
Yep.
think he could,
Okay.
yeah. I think if you're probably, in my mind, I think if you're finishing within maybe the top 6 positions, you are always in contention. It'll be interesting to see what the loss of Jalen Brunson does to their team. He was the second guy on that franchise, particularly as Tim Hardaway sort of faded into the shadows. It was weird what happened with Tim Hardaway. He sort of went from that.
Injured.
Yeah, he did get injured, but he also went from that supporting act for Luka Doncic to a guy who wasn't even getting a gig really eventually.
Is it Hardaway? Is it Dinwiddie? It ended up being Brunson.
Is that Hardaway or Easy Way?
Oh,
Oh, look out, zing.
Good one, Nick.
Zing.
The one that I'm most intrigued about this year, though, is Christian Wood off the bench.
Yes.
I'm wondering how that's going to work. As soon as they acquired Christian Wood, I was thinking he has to be the starting centre on that team.
Mate, I
And-
couldn't believe it when I read this here. This came out only a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Lost for words.
I was lost for words when I read it because
Yeah.
I thought every indication, especially if JaVale McGee's going to start,
Yeah.
I thought that younger player, that big money contract of Wood,
Yeah.
would have
I'm with you.
started for sure.
You'd have to be super disgruntled. In saying that, I think Luka's good enough to, I think at the end of the day, they're going to be in a contending position, whether that be sort of around the 6-7 mark or around the 8th mark.
Question then, just quickly before you go, Lee, and you can answer this as well if you'd like to. Do you think, just thinking about this a little bit more as to why they might be looking at bringing Wood off the bench, do you think it's because he's got a more overall skill set? Whereas if, like, McGee, he's going to be complemented by Luka, by Dinwiddie, these other starters, whereas Wood probably has a more well-rounded, skill set that can probably translate better with a second unit.
I don't mind.
Do you reckon that could be the reason?
Well, it's not because he's a worse player than McGee, because that's not true. So, yeah, you hit it on the head, I'd say.
I think you're right. And I think you also don't want, on offense particularly, you don't want too many mouths to feed. But it's still strange for mine. I think a guy like Christian Wood, particularly given they're thinking of starting JaVale McGee, I would start Christian Wood
Absolutely.
every single day of the week.
Well, press on, my good man. Go ahead with Denver.
Oh, forget about me.
Oh, no, shit. Sorry, man. Sorry.
Forget about the old
Sorry,
in the end.
Dallas. Lee.
Most good teams have a
You're
core.
going to call me into gear, man. Just call me up.
I did.
Yeah,
I
good.
did. Most good teams have a core consisting of at least 2 to 3 players. You look at Steph, Clay, and Draymond at Golden State. You look at LeBron and AD at Lakers. You look at
Tom, Dick, and Harry is the other.
you look at Giannis, Middleton, and Drew in Milwaukee.
The big three of Roy, Nick, and Lee.
Could say that.
Emphasised by Roy, yes.
Mavs have one player in that core.
Yes. Yep.
Davis Bertans. Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic.
Little zinger off the top.
Especially this coming season. I have a feeling he's going to remind me of pre-Miami LeBron when he was in Cleveland, just absolutely dragging these dog poo players. Like the second best player was probably Verja.
Oh,
it's a lot of pressure on Luka's shoulders. I think he can live up to it, though. He looks in great shape. He wasn't overly impressed with his season last year. And I think he's going to have the best season he's had yet, and that's why I put him MVP too. I think they're going to finish 5th, though. Very
good. Lee, carry on with the Denver Nuggets there, mate.
Got 2-time MVP Nikola Jokic, a healthy Jamal Murray, which hopefully, like last episode, we hope he can show up like he did in the bubble. And they've got, hopefully, a healthy MPJ, Michael Porter Jr.
Keyword for them both being hopefully.
I have never and still don't have a lot of trust in MPJ because I haven't seen
back issues are a concern, aren't they? Back issues are the one that really just affect everything and can really have massive ramifications.
But even when he's on the court, despite his injuries, I feel like he should have improved a bit more than he has.
He hasn't played.
But he has played in the NBA.
He's been a guy who's been hugely hyped, hasn't he?
But I think he stepped up big time. And I think he'd do better on a team where there wasn't a Jokic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is shadowed. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
No, but they're older now. They've got their heads screwed on a bit more, and why they didn't play that much at all together last year, if at all, I think this year they'll want to show up because they are all playing together.
What did you have?
I have them 3rd.
Third?
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah, right.
You have them high, I'm assuming. And
I had them 7th.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen people putting them like first.
Yeah, right.
I had them
There
third.
you go. I've gone 7th. I think losing Barton and Monte Morris is quite a big deal.
Got KCP
got-
and Brucey Brown.
Yeah, got KCP back. Fantastic. I think he's perfect for this team. Should get plenty of opportunity to score,
Yeah.
especially as defense has clamped down on that big three. Should get plenty of open looks.
I'm with you.
Back-to-back MVP. He'll be a handful. I think despite having to share the rock more with Murray and Porter, I think he's still going to put up big stats. I think they'll complement him well. I think Bones Highland as well. I had him as one of my hidden gems a couple of weeks ago.
Highly favoured for Sixth Man of the Year.
Absolutely. I think he's great. And I think he's going to get plenty of opportunity as they start to ease Murray in. And that's probably the reason why I had them 7th. I think they're going to start slow, which is fine as, you know, Porter, Murray eases into game time again, integrates within this team. But I think once they get going, they are going to be a serious handful. And despite them being 7th, they might only be a couple of games back of 3rd, 4th, as I said before.
Yeah.
So I've got them 7th, but I think they're a serious threat in the back half of the season. And when we get to the pointy end,
They might be the best 7th team ever.
Well, as I said,
Seventh, I think, is a
Indiana
bit low.
Pacers is the best 15th team last year.
Yeah, well, that's
Seventh
right.
is a bit low.
That's right. I had them as 5th. Now, before
Split the diff.
Yeah, split the diff. Got to split the diff. Before last season, they finished in the top 3 in the West the last 3 seasons in a row. Now, that's when they had their team at full capacity. They had a healthy Jamal Murray. They had Jokic in MVP form, and they had Michael Porter Jr. at the very least healthy and out there on the court. Yes, they have lost a few sort of role players, and I do certainly take that into account, but they have acquired a few other role players as well. And I think Brucey Brown is one which has probably been overlooked by the casual NBA fan. I think
overlooked DeMarcus Cousins.
DeMarcus Cousins, big boogie.
He was good.
Yeah, I know he was. Yeah,
good
Yeah.
when he was playing last season.
Could you imagine if
there still is he on a team?
Yeah, he's with the Nuggets there.
he's there?
Okay.
He's hanging around. He's hanging out of the nose. But I think the team overall has been there and done that. They've been in and around the picture when all of their key personnel have been healthy.
Yep.
So I'm expecting them to be in and around the mark again, probably in that midway mark, about 5th in the West.
Very good. What have you got for the reigning defending champions of the world, the Golden State Warriors, mate?
Golden State Warriors. I have them at the 2 position in the West. I've got them 2nd. I think they're coming off that. I think they're coming off that championship year with their confidence at an all-time high.
Yep.
It's actually quite refreshing as an NBA fan. We went through a few years there where we were sick of the Golden State Warriors winning championships because they were there every single year.
Yeah.
And since they've actually bottomed out and come back up again, it's kind of,
How
to a
fun
certain
are
extent, nice to see them back up there again.
They make me smile just thinking about them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I
Do you
think
feel that way?
Oh yeah. Well, the fact that they
Well, smile then.
went down there and then came back up,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah.
it's a reset.
And I think one of the big things for me in terms of why I think they will be up there again is because they've got a mix of obviously Steph and Clay and Draymond, but their young core is going to continually improve again this year.
We said this last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
We said they were in that limbo spot of juggling both, and they did it. We weren't sure which way they'd go, but they did it straight down the middle, hit it to
Exactly
perfection,
right.
got the title, did both. So you think
Kuminga.
it's going to be Wiseman coming back.
Wiseman has looked good in the preseason. Have you
Looked
seen
good
Wiseman in the preseason?
Over in Japan at the minute.
On limited minutes, but he's been good.
Moody
Yep.
developing as well. Jordan Poole continuing to bowl out. Dante
Yep.
DiVincenzo coming into the fold now as well.
Yep. Everything's still going well for them. I don't see them finishing outside the top 4, and second position's where I have them.
I've got them in that number 1 spot. I think
Number
they're
1.
the champs for a reason. They're going to pile up wins, no worries. I just think, as we said, those names, Kuminga, Moody, Wiseman, DiVincenzo, Poole, if that's your young core, look out. I think it's super, super exciting. Clay will now have an off-season under his belt. I think it was fantastic for him to get more minutes. Steph Curry was just absolutely phenomenal during the regular season last year, 25.5 points, 5 rebounds, 6.5 assists. Stepped it up in the finals. Very warranted. Certainly getting that finals MVP just kind of tops off his cabinet.
Can I just quickly butt in there, Nick?
By all
Sorry,
means.
I
No,
really
no,
don't
no.
like doing this, but
No, we do it. That's what we do. You must hate me then.
Uh,
You must hate me.
No,
Yeah, I was going
you,
to say
mate.
that's what you do.
Are we sort of undervaluing how Steph has bounced back from that long-term injury? Because I think the fact
Yeah.
that he bounced
I
back
forget he had it.
Yeah, you do. That's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. Like, he's bounced back to a point where he will be once again in MVP contention. He's won the championship
I don't
last
think he
year.
will be. I
Yeah.
think they will. I think they're that good during games. They'll blow out teams in the first half, and then they'll probably sit these blokes and
Yeah,
get these
they'll-
those couple of names I mentioned before more game time. And I think they're going to be that good that they'll pile up wins if they rest these guys.
Yeah.
But I think they'll look to, because they know they're good enough. They just romped it last season.
Yeah.
That they're good enough to rest these blokes and still win.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
I've got them first.
What was your question, Ro?
My question basically was: are we undervaluing how big of a bounce back that was from Steph Curry to?
Yeah,
Because he's gone from essentially the entire year out to bouncing back. Like, obviously Nick said he won't be MVP, and I don't think he will be either. And probably, like, you don't think he's in contention. I actually think he will be in contention, to be honest. And that's the reason that I think it's just such a huge bounce back from the man who'll go down as the best shooter of all time.
I think it's overlooked. We only would have noticed it if he didn't bounce back. But because we saw the exact same Steph, if not better, than we did before the injury, we kind of look over it.
Yep.
I had them number second.
Number second.
I had them
Number second.
Number second.
No.
Not a drink in this guy.
Oh,
A
mate,
drink
you're
in
the sober
who
one.
would've
Rowan and
thought?
I are on the beverages. You're the sober one. Come on, man.
Number two. They've probably got 5, you could say, all-star caliber players. Obviously, Steph and Clay, Draymond, Wiggins was last year's a bloody starter, and I'd probably add Paul into there. I think they're all-star caliber players. 3 of those guys are playing for a contract, Draymond, Wiggins, and Paul, so they're going to want to show up. The only reason I've put them second is because I think Steve Kerr is going to rest these stars to integrate these players like Wiseman, Kuminga, Moody, just to give him some more.
DiVincenzo. Let's mention him.
DiVincenzo.
Great pickup.
Just to give him some more on-court experience. So I think he'll let a couple of losses slip, which is fine. But I still think they'll finish second.
They almost seem like a team who is happy to go in first or second gear throughout the course of the
Doesn't
regular
matter,
season.
does it? They're that good.
Yeah,
They're
and
that
then
good.
once playoffs come around, boys,
Fun.
you're getting max minutes. Yeah,
Fun. I tell you what, absolutely disgusting if you get them on 2K. OP to the max.
Oh, God,
my
it's
goodness. Yeah, you may as well turn the console off at that point.
A team we probably don't need to linger on for as long. Lee, what have you got for the Houston Rockets? Where do you see them?
I've got them 13th.
Really?
I got them 13th. Do you remember how bleak their future was looking when they traded away Harden? It's such a rush deal. They got Victor Oladipo and Dante Exum back for him, and what seemed like at the time a couple of first round picks.
We're probably weighing it up. Yeah, there's a world in which this might work out for Houston.
Yeah, we would have been too.
But what they've done to kind of build back up this franchise a bit more is pretty damn impressive. They're obviously in the midst of a rebuild, probably at the start of a rebuild.
Yeah.
I expect to see Jalen Green take a bit more responsibility.
Bowled out in the last couple of months of last season.
He did. But they're still a very young team. They're going to have to integrate Jabari Smith Jr. in. Their year will come. It just won't be for another 2 to 3. But in about 2 to 3, wouldn't surprise me if they get into that top 8.
Yeah, okay. I won't spend too long on them. I've got them predicted for 14th. I think they're going to be a hard watch this season, to be fair. But I think if you're a Rockets fan out there, find solace in the fact, like we said with Indiana last week, the idea is to be bad at the minute. Like, embrace that, own it, no worries. There's no point trying to be something that you're not at the minute, so be shit and just live with it. Happy days.
You think it would be hard to watch because
I
they'll lose, right? Not because I think they'll be fun to watch.
I think they're going to be crap.
But will they be fun?
Well, watching turnovers isn't a whole heap of fun.
But like Jalen Green, I'm looking forward to Jabari Smith.
You'll be
Jr.
watching the individuals more.
Yeah, KPJ.
Yeah.
So that young core, KPJ, Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun should get, now that Wood's gone, should get increased game time. Jabari Smith. I think their core, I think my time frame is a little bit longer than yours, 2 to 3 years, Lee. I think the next 5 to 10 years.
5 to 10. They're not going to be there in 5 to 10.
What do you mean? Mate, they're all like 20, 21.
They move
22.
so quickly nowadays.
But
right?
I think outside Eric Gordon, who will probably get moved on and should get moved on.
Yeah, long overdue.
There's no experience or leadership in this team, which I think is going to be their undoing. I think any team, even in a rebuild, like I'm pretty sure Gordon will get moved on. But you need a couple of characters to help develop these young guys, nurture, mentor them. There's just not there.
Do they have any senior heads apart from Eric Gordon?
No.
No
I think,
one.
not that I can think of. If they get 20 wins, I think that'll be probably is
that the over?
Is a stretch. I'll say 22 and a half.
22 and a half.
What do you got? Over or under? I got under.
I must have over because I have them 13th.
Yeah.
I haven't gone bottom.
Yeah.
They somehow
Logic would suggest you would, unless the other two teams are absolutely awful.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they somehow always get over in those situations. But yeah, I'm with you.
14th row. What have you got, mate?
I've got them at 12th.
12th.
Yeah, it's only 2 spots above yours.
I don't mind it.
I know, but given how good probably the top 10 teams are, I'm interested to hear who your teams below them
That
are.
will be interesting.
You'll get to see
I'll
that.
get there.
Don't you
All right.
worry.
All
Don't you
I
worry.
like it.
I'm really intrigued to see the progression of Jalen Green.
No, that's only like 2 spots off a playing spot.
Yeah, I know, but it's also only 3 spots off the bottom.
Very good.
Gotcha, mate.
Jalen Green.
But I think Jalen Green has the capability to be one. I don't think he'll be the most improved player, but I think he's legitimately going to take huge leaps this year. Kevin Porter Jr. had a lot of beef, and I guess there was a bit of, I don't know, a bit of uncomfort within the, discomfort within the organization when Christian Wood was there. I think there was a bit of sort of, I don't know, there was a bit of,
Still just immaturity, I think.
It's immaturity, but there was also clashing personalities in that team.
Yeah.
I think Christian Wood, it is a detriment that they've lost him, but it's also a positive to a certain extent. I think they might be tracking along a bit better this year. It's probably a name that you're probably not expecting to hear, but I'm interested to see Sengun this year, see what he can do, particularly taking more responsibility in the absence of Christian Wood. He's a guy who you probably look over most years, but this year I think he's going to be up there in not most improved, but I think he's certainly going to take huge leaps and bounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. That's enough of the Rockets talking.
Yeah, I was sick of talking about that.
That's the most we'll probably talk about them this season.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Granted,
not a very fun organisation.
Kick on with the LA Clippers, mate. What have you got for them?
This might be the biggest shock of the whole
You reckon?
podcast. I don't know, maybe. I've got them in first position in the West.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a shock to anyone or not. I think this squad is as deep as any other squad in the entire league.
Deepest team in the league.
Deepest team in the entire league.
I would have been between them and the Celtics.
Yeah.
But now with their couple of injuries and things of the kind, I think the Clippers piss it in.
The scales have gone a bit. You look at their bench. Like, let me just read out a few names that are coming off their bench. Their
Shout
bench.
out to Matty B. I know he would be
he's a
frothing
big
this
Clippers
right
boy,
now from
isn't
the
he?
fifth and dribble.
So you've got either, I don't know if John Wall or Reggie Jackson will come off the bench, but it'll be one of the two. You've got Norman Powell. You've got Terrence Mann. You've got Lukey Kennard, who could be coming off the bench. You've got Rob Covington.
Yep.
Nick Batum.
Yep.
Morris Sr.
Yeah.
And there's more names,
Trey
but they're the notable ones, but you've got more names.
Boston Rob.
Yes. Coffee. Yes. I really like the pickup of Wall.
Yep.
I think in the off season, he sort of seems like he's rejuvenated himself a little bit.
Moses
And
Brown?
Moses Brown, yeah.
Moses.
God, keep going, mate. Jeez, you could go on forever.
Yeah.
Hopefully Kawhi Leonard's back by the time that the season begins. But by the sounds of it, from all reports, it sounds like he's probably.
Have
Oh,
you seen his legs?
that boy has got the biggest quads I've ever seen.
He's got tree trunks. Have you seen the pictures?
I have, and he's got a bit more beefier this year
Mate,
too.
his legs. He's got legs on legs on legs.
He does.
He's got like legs and breasts, but without the breast. He's just got legs.
He does. Oh my goodness, that picture that came out, that put the NBA community into legitimate shock, didn't it? Like,
Yeah, he's huge.
we knew he's a big boy, but God, we didn't know he had those on him.
So sorry, So you've got them predicted first. Did you? Forgive me, I might be wrong here.
No, you go
I know
on.
you put up something about our predictions the other week on our stories. Check out our socials if you're not already. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok.
Yeah.
Did you have them as your predicted champion as well?
No,
Okay.
no. So I had Milwaukee as my predicted
Yep.
champion. I think they'll be. The thing is, so here's the kicker. I've got them first in the West, but I think the Golden State Warriors will make the finals
Yeah.
against Milwaukee
in the
Bucks.
regular season.
Yep.
Yep.
Zach saying, "Oh, are you done? Or you keep on going?"
That's about it.
You
But
kick on, mate.
you go.
Yeah,
Like,
item first as well. They're loaded top to bottom. I'm not going to rattle off the names again because Ro already has. I mean, they made it to the 8th seed last year with Kawhi down and PG only in 31 games. So they're serviceable without the two. And usually they're
They've
back
gotten
now.
deeper.
the depth has improved. Yeah.
Usually with a
Norman Powell, did you mention him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Norman
Rob Covington?
Yep.
Yep.
Roko. Yep.
usually with a team like this that's this deep, you think, geez, but if they're getting coached by a bad coach, geez, where are they going to end up? Because the coach is such a big aspect and a big cog in the wheel,
chain.
in the chain.
Yeah.
But they're being coached by Ty Lue, who I have as my predicted coach of the year.
I did see
Me
that.
too.
I think they're built for regular season wins. They'll probably make it deep in the playoffs. Like I agree with
West
Ro.
Conference Finals type squad.
No, I agree with you in saying I think it'll be Golden State there, but
But
they're
West
Western
Conference
Conference
Finals.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I have them number one too.
I've got them second. I had the Warriors first. So I've got them second. As we just said, they are the deepest team in the league. I'm just sorry, I was plotting this one for a couple of minutes.
Here
while
we
you were
go.
speaking.
Oh, this will be good.
I so hope, depending on which route they go in the starting point guard, if they go John Wall,
Yeah.
I hope that they can somehow. Stevie Ballmer splurged enough cash. I hope that he pays the bill to get Outcast in to sing "I'm Sorry, Miss Jackson" to Reggie.
Do you reckon that would be worth the?
It would absolutely be worth the investment. Just Reggie there sitting like, shit.
That'd be back
to the
pocket
bench.
change for Stevie, wouldn't
And
it?
Outcast is just giving it to him.
I'd say with 80% chance John Wall will be coming off the bench. I might even knock that up to 90%.
I think. I don't actually. To be honest,
he's an old head.
This is the one that I don't know. This is the one because part of me thinks that bringing a young gun off the bench, or not young, but a younger guy in Reggie,
more of a spark plug.
I really don't know. This is the big question for me. I think this is the year that Steve Ballmer's investment pays off. I think this is the year. I think probably I've got the Warriors going back to back, so I see Western Conference Finals on their horizon. But I think they're going to be a big threat. They're going to stack up wins. Even if Kawhi and PG don't play, they're deep enough to rack up wins. So very exciting times if you're a Clippers fan.
Just quickly, Nick, how does it feel as a Lakers fan to
watch this?
To watch the Clippers' ascension, to see them continually getting better, while the Lakers sort of...
Well, should we move ahead to the Lakers? Let's talk about them, mate.
You go, mate.
So, I was doing this one and I was like, do I go with my head? Do I go with my heart? Is there some middle ground? I think I've gone overs here. I've got them fourth.
Ooh, okay. I'm not surprised that you had them there, but that's fine.
Yeah. I can see a world where that happens.
You see, that's the thing. I was thinking glass half full on this one because I can see a world in which they completely bottom out again. I think the acquisition of Pat Bev is huge.
Yeah.
Partly for the fact I think his actual playing style, his dogged determination on defense. Like this team lacks three-ball ability. Lonnie Walker, poor. Kendrick Nunn, poor last season. Well, he didn't play last season, but before that. Austin Reeves, poor. Dennis Schroeder, poor. AD, poor. You need to put shooters around LeBron. Like, that's my concern with this team, the shooting. All struggled from three over the last 12 to 24 months. Pat Bev is one guy who's knocked it down with consistency.
And doesn't put up a lot, too. He puts up maybe 2 or 3 a game, and he usually knocks.
To be honest, with all these other plumbers on the team, I hope that he does a bit more.
He's going to.
All these little Luigi Mario plumbers running around.
Warriors.
What's a little Wario? I think, but on the Pat Bev side, I think he's one guy. Now, for me, the Lakers last season, it kind of felt as if they had this mentality that they were good enough. They were going to make the play-in, and whatever happened, they were going to get through, no worries. Like, they were that good. That it doesn't matter where they finish.
With you. Yep.
But that complacency cost them. I think having a guy like Pat Bev who's going to be on these blokes every night to give it 110% is the kind of energy they needed.
Yep.
My concern was the chemistry between him and Westbrook and things of the kind.
Oh, they're best mates.
Who knows if Westbrook will still play at season start or how that'll play out. But the initial press conferences and things of the kind, I'm loving seeing them together.
It indicates otherwise, doesn't it?
How fun is it?
Yeah.
I actually love seeing it, like the one where Pat Bev was doing the interview and Russ threw him the towel.
Yeah.
Pat Bev, first assist of the season, he said, like,
I
some of
love
this
the
stuff
bit
is
where
gold.
I love the bit where a reporter was like, "You get to play with AD and LeBron.
Oh, they get to play with me." And asking what LeBron's best play of his career was, and he said, "My block on LeBron on Christmas Day."
I remember that.
Yeah,
This
that's
guy's
huge,
crazy,
isn't it?
but
This is my city, he said.
I think that can't be overstated enough. The
Yeah.
acquisition of Pat Bev, I think getting Juan Toscano Anderson will help. There's a lot of unknown certainties, like Thomas Bryant coming in, Lonnie Walker, as I said, Kendrick Nunn, will he be able to fire? Will Austin Reeves step up?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to play out and a lot of uncertainties, but I think it's just because I'm so high on LeBron, even as he becomes a dinosaur, a fossil, a relic, he's still that good.
Yeah, I agree.
But a big question mark hangs over AD. So I've got them fourth though.
I'll go. I've this out of the entire league and these standings predictions, this is the hardest team to predict. Because they could miss the play-in, they could make the playoffs, or they could be like in your eyes, Nick, top 5 seed. I've got them at that 9 mark. I think that this will be their somewhat redeem year.
Redeemed to 9, that's disgusting.
I know,
that's
but
horrible.
they missed out on the play.
I know, which is it's a step up, but it still sucks if you're a Lakers fan to hear this is a redemption year and you're finishing 9.
You've got to start somewhere.
Damn.
LeBron going on 38 and AD when he's healthy both have the chance to be top 5 players in the league. And I've never liked the Russ slander. I've always hated it.
Yep.
But the thing is, it's made him an underrated player.
Beat them both in the 3-point shootout the other day, actually.
What's he rated in 2K?
Oh, 78.
Like
he's below Pat Bev. He's 78.
Stop it.
That's criminal.
That's
His
disgusting.
ceiling for most people's eyes right now is pretty low. And that's
Do we
why.
forget he's an MVP?
Yeah, I know.
He averaged triple doubles
No, I
multiple
don't
seasons
forget.
in a row.
He's an MVP of the league. It's disgusting the way he gets treated.
Yeah.
Damn the hiccups.
That took away from your statement.
I was really powerful for a minute there, wasn't it? And then I gave it all up.
His ceiling's low, so he doesn't have to do a lot to meet expectations. But I think he will do a fair bit this year. It's his redeem year as well. Something you didn't add, Nick. Darvin Ham, head coach, assistant
great
coach from the Milwaukee Bucks when they had their championship. He's got that championship DNA in him. Hopefully, he can leak that into the Lakers.
Absolutely.
I've got them at the 8th position this season. There's a lot of if, buts, and maybes for mine this year about the Los Angeles Lakers. If Anthony Davis can regain somewhat of his health, I guess. I mean, if he can stay out there for long enough, they could legitimately be championship contenders again. If he can't, then they're probably going to, be around the 8, 9, 10 mark. And I guess from what I've seen over the last few seasons, you can't rely on Anthony Davis to be out there any given night. And I think that is probably going to be a large contributor as to how they go this season, how they can manage Anthony Davis and hopefully get him out there more often than not. I really liked your point on Pat Bev. I think he's an absolute dog. He's the guy you want to go to war with any given night. I think that's a big acquisition. I don't know if it's been overlooked, but it's certainly one that I think will have a bigger impact than most people have given credit to this season. So the Lakers are a bit of a wait-and-see team for mine. Will Anthony Davis be out there enough to, contribute to wins?
So so scary because you want to pick him in your first round in your fantasy basketball team, but you're
questions remain.
A few years ago he was, and now you can't do that anymore.
Somebody said something funny at the start of the show, and whoever it was, I can't quite recall what the point was. Somebody said
probably me.
It's absolutely caused havoc with me here. This is going to be a battle. The last couple of teams of this, but let's push on. The Memphis Grizzlies leading. Far out, man.
Oh, mate, chuck yourself on mute for a minute.
I'm in disarray.
I have the Grizzlies in the 8th spot, 1 spot above the Lakers. All eyes are on Memphis now. Where do
you have them?
8th.
You got them at 8.
I've got them 8th. I've got them probably lower than you guys expected. All eyes are on Memphis now that they're expected to win, coming off last year, and they did a lot of trash talking too. So people are going to come up and they're going to expect him to win.
Yep.
It's Ja's year to shine in particular. And if he does, it wouldn't surprise me if he's maybe top three players in the
MVP.
league.
Yep, I'm with you.
I think, though, the pressure will be a little bit too much for him, which is why I put them at 8. I don't doubt that he'll have a great season, just not enough to bring them higher than 8, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If he does want to progress, and if the Memphis Grizzlies want to progress, I know we see the highlight blocks and that from Jar, but overall defense is an area that needs improvement on his end, in my opinion. They're going to be out without Jaren Jackson Jr. until January. They lost some nice pieces in Kyle Anderson and DeAnthony Melton.
Yeah,
a couple
that
more
hurts.
reasons why I've popped them lower than some people might have.
For me, just during the week, I've put them third. During the week, I had them first.
Jeez.
I had this first for the last couple of days, and at the last minute, I changed it, partly due to the fact about the loss of Melton and Anderson. I had them first, and I still think third, purely for the fact I think they're young, they're hungry, and they're just going to want to win on any given night. Whereas these other players other teams are gonna rest players like Steph and Kawhi and things of the kind. They're also young that they're all just gonna play. But I've slid them down to third, as you said. Those losses I think are quite big. It's gonna make. I don't know if I can do this. This is disgusting.
The validity of the statement
it's diminished.
It's diminished massively.
It's a bit hard to do it in the podcast, but I get rid of hiccups by actively thinking about them.
Really? All right, I'll try that while Ro's talking in a moment. I think now because of that and those losses, they're going to be reliant on players like Zaire Williams, Tyus Jones, John Conchar, and Xavier Tillman to step up, which is they're capable, but are they a team that can get you in the top couple of teams in the West? I think Desmond Bane is elite. Last season, 18 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3 assists nearly. I think he's the perfect Robin to kind of Jar's Batman.
Yes.
And I think there's a world like Jar put up 27.5 points, nearly 6 rebounds and 7 assists last season.
It's a lot.
That's incredible stats.
Sorry, mate.
And if his 3-point stroke can continue, shut up, Nick. Ro, you're up. But I think they're going to be great. Third place. Shit.
Actively think about it.
Okay, you talk, Ro. I'm going to think about these hiccups for a minute. Oh, no. Have you ever tried drinking water backwards? You kind of lean over and drink water.
Give that a go. With your
Try it with my ciders.
That's had a massive flow on.
This is just I've just had to wrap that up.
Oh, mate. Oh, give me the tissues on it. Yeah. Where are we? Yeah, Memphis. Yeah, chuck yourself on mute, and rightly so. I've got them at the 4 position this year. I think they've got a different makeup compared to a lot of younger teams in the same vein. I think they've got guys who aren't afraid at the moment. I think they've got guys who have only got upside to come. I think they're determined and they're hungry and they're willing to, I guess, put their own performance and ego aside for team success. Even guys like Ja Morant, yes, he will be up there in terms of MVP at the end of the season, but I think he's the type of guy who just wants team wins more than anything else.
Yeah.
He's not about the individual awards. And I think the Memphis Grizzlies have it all ahead of them. I'm with you, Nick, in terms of saying that they might even deserve to be higher than this.
This is the first year I'm a believer in them.
Yeah.
Because I know I've always been pretty low and I had reservations. This is the first year that I've actually given them a standing that probably warrants where they're at.
Yep. And they've got really solid role players. I like their supporting cast as
Where'd
well.
you put them?
Man, fourth. Yeah,
okay.
fourth.
Right, we'll press on with a team that I think might have quite fluctuating standings, not only between us, but others in the NBA community, the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, I'm with you, Nick. This is a team that I could have had anywhere between 4th and 10th, to be perfectly honest with you.
Absolutely.
The variation of where they could finish at the end of the year, no one will actually know until maybe like the halfway point of the season when we actually get a good taste of where they're at.
Absolutely.
I've got them at 9th because
so do I.
Yeah, they've okay. So over the off season, they've obviously included a multiple decoy in Rudy Gobert. Now, how he will work with Cat is yet to be seen, and I think that's a big question mark on how they will perform. I think if they can work really well in tandem together, I see no reason why they can't be sort of vying for a 5th, 6th, 7th spot.
Yep.
I think there's a huge question mark as to whether that will actually work. And I think the general consensus among the NBA community is, will that actually work? Like when that trade went through, it was like, do they actually need a player like Rudy Gobert? I'm not too sure if they do.
Well, we can see if Cat can play as a legitimate power forward.
Well,
now.
yeah, that's the other thing. And to get Rudy Gobert, they've had to give up a fair bit of their depth, which will obviously have an impact as well. Other teams in the West improving at the same time. Still too much uncertainty for mine around Minnesota. That on paper, their starting 5 looks legit.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's going to translate into wins, but time will tell.
For me, I've got them 9th as well. I think they've done quite well in bringing in experience to this team. You look at Austin Rivers, Kyle Anderson, PJ Dozier, Bryn Forbes. I think their depth is really quite solid. Edwards is the star of this team. 21 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists last season. Certainly look to see him continuing on with that trajectory. For me, I think the big swing piece is D-Lo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, I'll just make note of this one more time. You're going to have to forgive me for the rest of the show. This is
Hopefully not.
I try not to focus on my hiccups too much for the listeners out there, because believe me, I'm trying my absolute darndest here. But if you've ever had hiccups and you've got to speak, that's a goddamn goddamn battle. D-Lo, 18 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists last season. I think especially with Gobert coming into the fold, if he can really embrace that role of just a facilitator, they'll be a lot better for it. I like where they're at, and I think their variance is probably with the Lakers is one of the highest within the league across both conferences. I think they're probably just a year away. Use this year to iron out the system, the schematic side of things. And then next year, I think they'll be more of a legitimate threat.
I've got them 7th, actually. I think they're going to be making enough noise to make top 8. They've got 4 all-star caliber players for Gobert, Cat, D'Lo, and Ant, and I think that's gonna prove beneficial for them. I said last year they just need to play smarter ball. Hopefully this year they can.
As in reduce turnovers, just play to their strengths.
Yep, exactly. Like you said, I didn't really think about it before, but D'Lo doesn't need a score, really. He
Not as much anymore, does he?
Also needs to be a facilitator. I think the addition of Gobert will probably most impact and benefit Anthony Towns, just because he's obviously you always have to be on your P's and Q's on defense, but he can more just focus on putting all his energy into his offensive output, which I think he'll do. I've got him 7th.
Lads, we've got 7 teams to go, so we'll pick up the pace here. We've got the New Orleans Pelicans. I've got them predicted 6th. Another team that I think has a pretty high range. To be honest, if I squint with my eyes somewhat half closed, I can see a world in which they finish first.
First? I thought you were about to say top 4.
No. I think they're that good. You look at that starting 5, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Valanciunas, and Herb Jones. Not to mention the depth. I think they're super exciting. Alvarado, Devontae Graham, Larry Nance, Jackson Hayes, new Australian recruit Dyson Daniels.
Oh, Double D
coming into the fold. Super excited to see what he can do. But all the talk, all the excitement and anticipation is around Zion Williamson. A generational talent. I'll never forget his debut versus the Spurs.
Oh, 3 after 3.
3 after 3. Who thought he had that?
That's right, yeah.
Who thought he had that in the kit bag? Man's come out and just lit it up from 3.
Because they were easing off and he would just pop them up.
Absolutely devastating what he can do that on a basketball court. I just think if everyone can hit shots, and I like where this team's at with Valanciunas as a center, a big who can stretch the floor, it just opens up a lane for a powerhouse like Zion to just put the train in and just chew all his way to the rim. So really excited about what they can do. 6th position for myself there.
I've got them as 7th position. To me, it sort of seems like over the offseason they've come out on a mission to a certain extent. You look at the appearance of Brandon Ingram with that bloody big afro and the beard to go with it.
He looks homeless.
I don't like it.
But to me, do you know what that says? Like
the
appearance side of things makes me think, oh, gee, that looks a bit dirty. But to me, it more so points out that he's just worried about his basketball. He's not worried about shaving. He's not worried
That's
about
where you're
keeping.
taking that.
He's
Yeah,
comfortable
absolutely.
in playing in his own skin. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care about the optics.
I think he just needs a goddamn shower.
He
and-
looks like it.
It's a well, we might touch base with them soon, but Manscaped.
That
Man
could be.
just needs a good razor and a set of trimmers there just to get through that bush.
Yeah. Look, I think
The top bush.
the top bush. Hopefully, it's only the top bush. Jesus Christ.
But
But
right if he was with Manscaped, though, wouldn't he? Cover all bushes.
Oh,
But then you also look at like blokes like CJ McCollum signed a contract over the last week, I think it was,
Yep.
a multi-year contract. He obviously sees something in this New Orleans Pelicans franchise, which he's excited about and he's willing to stay around for, to be a part of. Zion Williamson, he's back in shape, and that is scary news for the rest of the league because an in-shape Zion Williamson could mean anything.
And all reports suggesting that I've been keeping up to date with, they're going to have 4 kind of offensive creators. Herb Jones, apart from Valanciunas, McCollum, Ingram, Zion, and Herb Jones are all going to have like facilitating avenues.
Yes.
And reports are suggesting that Herb Jones, like at the start of last season when he came in, they barely wanted him handling the ball.
Yep.
He's actually going to be on the dribble a bit, creating offense this season. So
I hope he does.
Look out for that. It gives them just a lot of avenues, a lot of things to play with there. So
I've got him 6 as well. Something you didn't add. Don't think you both did, but they got some playoff experience last
against
year.
all odds. They made it 1-13 or whatever they started. They came home with a wet sail.
Bit of a taste.
And I'm pretty sure they versed Phoenix Suns. They got
4-2.
They got booted out first round, but like to verse the first seed in the
Took it up to them.
and get 2 wins. It was nice to see. And Ingram proved that he could be that number 1 when necessary.
Yep.
Probably not going to be when Zion's back, because when he was there in his second season, averaged 27 points per game at 61%.
Yeah, crazy.
That's Shaq numbers.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And I always forget that Valanciunas is there. They're a pretty stacked team. I have them 6. I think this is the year they're gonna prove to people that they're a threat.
Absolutely. A team we won't hang on for too long. We'll go OKC. What have you got, Lee?
Rebuilding. They are. Probably would have had. I have them 12th, 15th. Sorry. Would have had them higher if Shet didn't go down, but he did go down. But just they're going to tank. Gives them better odds to get Wembanyama.
You can't say Woom. You can't say Woom. You can't do it. You can't do that. You can't.
Wembanyama. They just need some injury luck to go their way going forward. But yeah, 15th. Don't want to say much. Wembanyama.
No, quit, man.
There's so many syllables in that name, isn't
There's
there?
a lot. I've got them predicted 12th. I think it was absolutely devastating losing Shet. I was super, super excited. Just seeing the chemistry that him and Josh Giddey had developed in their time on the court together, I thought could have almost sniffed a playing spot. I've still got them 12th. I think Giddey will continue to elevate and become one of, if not the best playmakers within the league. Like, his array of passing is phenomenal. His composure and
Patience.
his patience, I think at times might have used the comparison that we made with Luka Doncic last season. The fact he plays the game on his level, he slows it down and doesn't kind of conform to how others play in the game. I think Shea's been slept on last season, 24.5 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. He's the guy. He struggled from 3 last season, but if he can pick that uptick in percentages back up, he's going to be in and around an all-star spot mix. Likewise, super keen to say Usman Deng, formerly of the New Zealand Breakers last season, picked up in the draft there. Exciting things. I think they'll finish 12th, but certainly sad to see Shet go down.
Yeah, it's a really sour note, isn't it? I've got them at 14th. Look, to be perfectly honest with you, I think coming into this season, even with Shet, I thought they were probably another few years off the mark, like in terms of being serious contenders for a playoff position. But yeah, losing Shet is just, it's devastating, particularly given it sort of sets you another year back in your rebuild, to be perfectly honest with you. But in saying that, they've got enough to be excited about, enough to still keep an eye on. Giddey for mine and yours.
Yeah.
Gidmeister. He's going to be the guy to watch. And, they're another one of these teams which, even though they'll finish low in the standings, they've still got plenty to look forward to. Not all doom and gloom.
Mate, we are 2/3 of the way there, fellas. We've got 5 teams to go, and I'm hanging on. Let's move ahead to the Phoenix Suns. I might kick us off here. I've got them predicted 5th.
Mm.
Now, I think just with everything that's big one, what impact will the Robert Sava situation have? What impact will the DeAndre Ayton situation have? Even after the Suns match the Indiana Pacers offer sheet very, very quickly, like from interviews and things of the kind, it still doesn't seem as if he's sold on being there.
No, he's not.
Jay Crowder, he's on his way out. Him and the organisation have requested that they find a resolution there, so he'll be on his way out. Just seems as if there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot that could impact the chemistry within this team. Dario Saric coming back is great. I think he's fantastic and what he'll add to this team. Hopefully see Jock Landale get plenty of time, but granted, I know with Saric coming back, that might impact his minutes.
Although D-Book spoke him up massively the other day.
Oh, he did. He did. I did see that, trying to get D-Book on the Vegemite.
Yeah. Yes.
But I think for D-Book, I think Paul will probably rest more this season. Again, another older body. You've got to preserve him for when it matters most in the playoffs. And because of that, I think Booker has the potential to really insert himself into the MVP talk. Like, there's certainly, you can see a world in which he finishes top 3 there. But from my eyes, I've got them 5th. I think over the last 2 seasons in particular, I think their championship window might have just evaded them.
Closed.
Just eluded them there. So I've got them 5th.
Yep. I got them 4th. Like you said, there's a lot of complications going on. Ayton probably doesn't want to be there again because they don't want him there. CP3 getting on to 37 or 38 this year. And in the playoffs last year, he was exposed on defense pretty heavily by the Mavs. And other teams will probably replicate that.
Wild.
That was wild.
That game 6 and 7, that game 7 in particular, never seen anything like that. A number 1 seed to get completely and utterly shat on.
Demolished.
Over in the first quarter.
Yeah, all these complications. But in saying that, they do, in my opinion, have the best chemistry in the league. Look at them
still
pre-game. They look so fun. Fun group of guys. But I have them 4th.
I've got them at the 3rd position this year. Now, a lot of this will ride down to how much DeAndre Ayton lets that off-season, I guess, controversy impact his on-court performance.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, as you were saying, Nick, he does not want to be there. We even saw him in the presser the other day, or what was it, like the pre-game presser or whatever it was. But he looked really depressed.
Deflated.
He didn't want to be there. And I think if that has too much of an impact on his on-court performance, it leaves too much to D-Book because CP3 is getting older. So he's going to have less of an impact.
Yeah.
And if they're going to truly contend, they need all 3 of those blokes to have an impact on the court. Now, in that presser, DeAndre Ayton did say, look, when I'm on the court, I'm here to work.
Yeah.
And
that's what you want. At the end of the day, this is, and Westbrook said it the other day, this is their job, isn't it?
It is, yeah. That's what they're getting paid a big job
and not enjoy it, but you've got to still show up and perform.
Exactly right. Spot on. One of the things that I was just thinking whilst you guys were talking is JaVale McGee a bigger loss than you would have otherwise thought? Just for the chemistry side of things. Like we saw how many pre-game little rituals before the game. He was really good. And the output as well.
Him and Biombo.
Yeah.
Like what an absolute just coming on they had. I think the only thing that alleviates that is the return of Saric. I think if he weren't in the squad or were out, I think the loss of McGee would be felt more.
What kind of role does Jock Landale get this year?
Not much.
Not much still?
I hope he does. I really hope he does because I love him. With Melbourne United, the guy's a baller. And in this day and age where you need your bigs to stretch the floor and shoot threes, he's fantastic. I would love to see him get more opportunity. Lee, a big NBL fan, Jock Landale, keen to see big things from him?
Very, very much so.
Good man.
Sounds it.
Let's push on. 4 teams to go. The Portland Trailblazers row. What do you reckon?
I've got them at the 10th position. Once again, we'll be heavily reliant.
All 3 of us. We'll tie it in together. All 3 of us have the Blazers at 10.
Team chemistry on point.
Nice one, boys. Boys.
I do think once again they'll be heavily reliant on Dame. What I will say is that if Anthony Simons, depending on how much responsibility they give Anthony Simons, he could be within the picture of most improved player.
Because CJ McCollum Light.
Yeah, it really is.
Adversion.
The adversion.
Adversion.
The shitty adversion with heaps of bugs. I don't have a heap to say about the Portland Trailblazers, but
That's
I
all
think,
good.
but I guess with the amount of responsibility on Dame again, if he can stay healthy, do we see a world in which he can elevate himself into not legitimate MVP contender, but maybe like top
Fringe.
top
He'll
10?
probably get chatter.
Yeah. Chatter.
Well,
Yeah.
let me pose this question to you, Lee. So, do you think they're going to finish 10th? Oh, well, we've said they'll finish 10th. If you're facing them in a playing game or a do or die game, they're a dangerous team. You would not, if you're a 9th seed and that's the team you've got to face, the Portland Trailblazers, they are a quality lineup in a do or die game. We've seen what Dame can do. The bye-bye to OKC there. He's done it countless times. That's not a team you want to face in a do or die game.
That's literally all, and I wrote this in my notes. That's all the Portland Trailblazers need to do. Just get to the play-in. Because they probably have the best chance out of whoever's in that 4 play-in spot to come out on top.
Get a sniff.
Underrated the signings. Jeremy Grant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gary Payton from the Warriors there, who's the glove junior on the defensive end. They're a
Josh Hart still got nerve.
Josh Hart. Yeah,
He's got heart.
He's got ticker. I think they're a good squad. I think they're dangerous in the plane. I just think they're a little bit lacking on the bench scoring side of things to be a genuine threat. And it's, as I said, the top 8 to 10 teams, which they fall in, I think are going to be all pretty close. Like they might only finish a couple of games back a 6th. But I just don't think they're quite there to get into a playoff spot. But still, nevertheless, they're going to be a threat.
Yep.
Anything you want to add, Lee?
No, it seems like they're in between. They're like in a rebuild, but in saying that they still got players in their prime on their team, led by Dame. So just get to the play-in.
Well, maybe you want to say more about the Sacramento Kings.
God, not much. They don't.
No, that's all right. We don't need to
give us something.
Low on the Kings.
I've got them. What have I got them? 11th.
I've got them 11th as well.
Not right. Okay.
Not me, but
they don't have a bad roster, but I just don't trust that front office at all. Ever since they traded away Halliburton, it went down. Oh, it's always been downhill.
Big off-season acquisitions of Kevin Huerter from the Hawks, Malik Monk.
Yep.
Got a big plus in your eyes, I reckon, Ro. Matty Dellavedova back from Melbourne United there.
New coach, Mike Brown.
Got Keegan Murray in the draft. I've got them 11th as well. As I've said time and time again, get my jar ready, Lee. Perennial underachievers. Just the epitome of mediocrity.
There we go.
Couple of big sentences there. I think they'll be close to the play-in, but I think the West is just too stacked for them to make it.
Yeah.
As I said, just underachievers. As you know, Sabonis, Fox, those blokes I just mentioned signing. There's enough talent there, but given the track record of what they've achieved, I just don't think they're going to get there.
I have them.
Odds would suggest no.
Odds would certainly suggest no. I have them at 13th. I think for a team which is
may the odds be ever in your favour.
I think for a team who has been so mediocre over the last what do we say 15 years. I tell you what, that's an inspired pick of Matty Dellavedova just coming off in that backup PG role. I don't mind that.
So what, you're back on his horse now after we gave him absolute hell down here at MyState Bank Arena at the Nest?
Look, for those who weren't aware, Matty Dellavedova did come back to MyState Bank Arena against the Tassie Jack Jumpers, and goodness me, you wouldn't have thought he was one of my all-time favourite players because we were there giving absolutely him ripping in.
We were giving him fair dinkum sledges.
But fair enough as well, because he was having a fair old crack as well. So
yeah.
But anyway, one of the main highlights this year, I guess, will be Keegan Murray for mine. I think he will be up there in Rookie of the Year contention. He'll have a little bit to do, I think.
Yeah.
So I think they haven't added enough to be in true contention for mine.
Well, good. Press on with the San Antonio Spurs, another team we probably don't need to linger on for too long.
No, got him in 15th spot.
So do I.
14th.
14th. Oh, geez, you're generous.
Big overs.
Losing DeJounte Murray, that's their main go-to guy. A lot of reliance in your man, Nick Keldon-Johnson, as the most improved player. I know you're
MIP for a team that's going to finish last, probably the worst overall record in the league.
But that's still a chance of happening.
MIP, don't worry.
regardless of if their position is terrible or not, I think he's going to improve massively.
He's going to have to.
He's going to have
If
to.
they're going to win one game this season, he's going to have to improve.
He's going to be in a very, very dim spotlight.
Yeah, it's hard to think of a. It's hard to think of a pop coached team which finishes last, but I think that this year's Spurs squad might be that team.
That's the only reason I haven't put him 14th. If they were coached by anyone else,
Pop's the reason you've given him a spot.
yeah, he knows how to string at least a couple of.
Man's going to be coming in with a cane. To
Might drop down.
Old school tactics.
Poor Pop. We love Pop, but no, 14th. Not
14th.
much.
I've got 15th. I think Devin Vassell and Jakob Poeltl will get opportunity to put up points. Just outside that, and Keldon Johnson, as I said, a hidden gem, my most improved pick. Don't know where their scoring's going to come from. It always feels as if Popovich finds a way to eke out wins.
That's what I'm saying.
I just don't think that'll be the case this year.
Who'd they pick up against? Sochan or something?
Jeremy Sochan, was it?
Yeah.
Cool hair.
Joshua Primo,
Cool, yeah.
as he develops, might get a bit more game time. But outside of that, don't really have much to say. And again, like the Rockets, probably a team we won't touch on too much this year. So lap up that 1 minute little recap there of the Spurs. Moving ahead to the Utah Jazz. Now, a team I initially had 15th. Upon looking on their roster, I've bumped them up a couple of spots. At this point in time, we're looking at a starting five that's going to consist of Mike Conley, Colin Sexton, Malik Beasley, Laurie Markkinen, and Kelly Olynyk. You've got Clarkson, THT, Taylor Horton-Tucker, and a few others off the bench.
Vanderbilt,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm high on Vanderbilt.
I'm proud of them, though. As we saw the other day, I think they got big unders for Bogdanovic. Big unders. That was dumb. That was pure stupidity. The fact that you got Saban Lee and Kelly Olynyk back for a quality player in Bogdanovic.
Ponytail. Oh.
Despite that, I'm proud of them for embracing the rebuild. It's funny to think it was only a season or two ago. As I said, with the 76ers, a team I've always had high hopes on, and they've faltered me. That's likewise the Jazz. They're the equivalent in the West. But their fall from grace has been rapid. Like they've just gone head first off a 50-foot drop there. I think they would be pushing to get Wembanyama, especially with Rudy Gobert leaving, filling that big man spot because Kelly Olynyk is not it. I think they'll be competitive. Somewhat, but ideally you don't want them to win games. Like I reckon
that's not their aim.
If they're winning heading into the last quarter, I reckon they'll just tank it. I hope Sexton and Markkinen, blokes I've mentioned in the offseason, can now flourish in a new environment. But I think certainly on that defensive end, without Gobert, they've lost their identity. They'll probably score a heap of points because they're just run and gun type players, especially Sexton, even Clarkson coming off the bench. But for as many points as they score, they're going to give up equally more.
Yeah, so, they will.
I've got them 13th.
I have them 12th. The only reason I had them above 15, 13, and 14. 14.
Come again, mate.
Back to backs, mate. Yeah.
The only reason I had them above 15, 14, 13 was because they do have enough good players to string together.
They've got NBA level players, don't they?
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah. I just feel bad. Who's Jazz coach?
Will Hardy now.
Like, how do you coach a team that is trying to tank but has good players?
And it's your first time as a head coach. Imagine that.
He's in a tricky position.
Absolutely. Great point.
Even trickier position because it's not like they've gone with the all-out rebuild, because if they've gone with the all-out rebuild, they would have gotten rid of every single last player they had.
I think they still will. I think Conley will still go.
Clarko. What are they going to do?
Clarkson might go as well. I think Conley and Clarkson are probably still going to go.
Whether
that be before the season or in the first couple of months.
And I think they should. I think they should.
Ro, what have you got there, mate?
I've got them at the 11th spot in the West. They've really thrown out the baby with the bathwater, haven't they? Like the Utah Jazz.
Don't want to do that.
Once they
crack skull on the ears of the hard floor.
No, absolutely not. Once they got rid of Quinn Snyder, you sort of saw the future occurring before your very eyes. I guess the Donovan Mitchell trade was a little bit of a surprise in the end because once they got rid of Rudy Gobert, you thought, oh, okay, so that's the one that they decided to get rid of, but they ended up getting rid of the entire
whole lot,
both
core.
Mitchell, Gobert, Bogdanovic, probably Conley, probably Clarkson. That's all. Everything not nailed down is going
for sure. And I think now they need to fully commit, as we were discussing, to the rebuild. They've got enough players to be competitive, which is why I put them in the 11th spot. But what they really should do is get rid of their remaining key players and really go from the bottom up, because the squad that they've got at the moment isn't going to reach huge heights. So
very good.
Yeah, they need to still take action.
What do they do? What are they going to do? Are they going to just try? Because it's not like they have draft picks or any.
They did get quite a bit for Gobert. They got quite a bit.
They got a bit of depth.
They've got enough there now.
But they've got serviceable players. So are they going to try build their value to trade them too, or
they'll like players like Conley and they'll just
Clarkson, maybe.
They'll build that war chest and just really go for the fences. Fellas, the Western Conference done and dusted. 15 teams, very well done there. Big shift at Lee.
Back to back jacks here
for the boys.
Mm-hmm.
Let's rattle through from 15 to 1. And we'll let our faithful listeners out there, episode 2 of season 4, see who did the best job here.
Okay. 15 to 1. OKC Thunder, San Antonio Spurs, 13 is Houston Rockets, 12 is Jazz, the Kings at 11, Portland at 10, 9 is the Lakers, 8 is the Grizzlies. I've got the Timberwolves at 7. I've got the Pelicans at 6, 5 is Dallas, 4 is Phoenix, and rounding out 3, 2, 1, I've got Denver Nuggets, Golden State Warriors, and the Clippers at the number 1 spot in the regular season.
Great work, mate.
Reel them off, Nick.
Rattle them off. Starting from 15 to 1, we've got the Spurs, the Rockets, the Jazz in 13th, followed by OKC, the Sacramento Kings, the Portland Trailblazers, Minnesota is 9th, followed by then Dallas, the Nuggets, Pelicans, and there your top 5 is the Phoenix Suns, the LA Lakers, and rounding out the top 3 is the Memphis Grizzlies, the LA Clippers, and my number 1 pick, the reigning defending champions of the NBA, the Golden State Warriors, rounding out my Western Conference predicted standings for the upcoming season.
We love that. And to finish off for mine, I'm a bit more prepared this time around.
Good man. You are all over it.
Starting at 15th, we've got the Spurs, 14th OKC, 13th Sacramento, Houston, Utah, Portland, Minnesota. We're into the top 8. Lakers, New Orleans, Dallas, Denver, and then the top 4, Memphis Grizzlies, Phoenix Suns, Golden State Warriors, and Los Angeles Clippers.
For any of our listeners out there, that's probably pretty hard to process the way we've done that. We might try and put something up during the week or however we decide to do it. But
our listener base got a very high IQ.
High IQ. Yeah. We only attract smart cookies.
Yeah. Goes without saying.
Absolutely.
Demographic.
Fellas, just quickly, shout out. I should have said it on our first episode back, but I know we've done back-to-backs here, so I'll say it now. Very, very excited for season 4. Stoked to have you guys back. Welcome.
Off with a bang.
Very well done on our return. Back-to-back jacks for the first time in 4 seasons. Huge.
Goodness me.
Guys, as always, continue to stay up to date with the show. The NBL is now officially underway. The NBA is just around the corner. We're going to be your one-stop shop for everything NBA and NBL related. So be sure to hit the subscribe, follow button, follow all the socials. We go away. Well, by the time this comes out, we will be away.
We will be away. Think of us.
On our return,
I'll be here.
You'll be here holding down the fort, mate. Good man. Someone's going to fly the flag. But be sure to keep tuned. Looking at starting a second episode a week. Purely, a 30 to 45 minute show focused purely on the NBL. Very much looking forward to that. Be sure to tell a friend about the show. Spread the word. Season 4 is going to be our biggest and best yet. Guys, let's wrap her up there because we're absolutely beat after doing the double number. So, as always, have a great week. Keep up to date with everything going on in the basketball world. We can't wait to talk to you next week. Ciao.